Good morning and happy Friday to those of you in Australia. It's around 7 a.m. at the time of recording. We're going to be talking about what exactly to expect with Cyclone Jasper over the next few days. The system poses a serious threat to Australia here in about 6 to 7 days' time, so just about a week from now, expect into early next week, the work week impacts to start rolling in. Here's the system now. It's very healthy. It has a well-defined eye and has a nice ring of convection around it. This all indicating that we have a pretty strong tropical system on our hands, substantially stronger than the last time we talked about it. So Cyclone Jasper is now a major cyclone, Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson scale with winds of 120 miles per hour and a pressure of 951 millibars. It's also a Category 4 on the Australian scale, showing that this does pose a pretty dangerous threat. Jasper is rapidly appearing to become a major threat to Australia, both in model guidance and also just in the way that it is currently intensifying. There are a couple of major things I want to drive home, though. You're going to see in forecasts later that this is expected to weaken. Do not be fooled by that. There is good model consensus, especially for this far out, that the system is going to begin to re-strengthen as it moves towards Australia. We're also pretty sure that in Australia, landfall is on the cards here. So lots to talk about there, and we'll get to that in a bit more time here. So there's a high uncertainty in where and how bad the impacts for Australia will be. However, I am expecting that some area within the country, especially within Queensland, you guys need to be on high alert as someone is going to get hit here fairly hard, I am anticipating. So let's take a look at the official forecast courtesy of the Bureau of Meteorology. The system currently a Category 4, and it's expected to weaken with time across the whole forecast period. So by the time we get to 4 a.m. on the 11th of December here, so that's going to be early Monday, you'll notice that the system, it's moving towards Cairns, Ibarra, Innisfail, Palm Island, areas like that. However, it is not expected to be overly close just yet. However, if we take a look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center forecast, it goes a bit farther out. It gives us a bit better of an idea of how exactly this all is going to turn out. So this is heading in to around the December 12th, 13th time frame is when this ends. And what we notice is that the system weakens with time according to this graphic. So here in about 2 days or so, the system is going to weaken down to a Category 2 system, according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, with winds up to 100 miles per hour. So winds at 100 miles per hour as the system begins to take that more westerly turn. We then notice that it weakens further and further all the way until it is a minimal Category 1 system on the Saffir-Simpson scale heading towards Wills Island. And then after that, we notice that it begins to re-strengthen on the forecast very gradually, according to this specific forecast. However, things could change, but the system is expected to get considerably smaller, and it's also expected to get considerably stronger even beyond this point, according to all the data that we've been seeing internally. However, there are no official forecasts that are currently calling for a landfall in Australia just yet, and there are no official forecasts on what exactly impacts are going to look like. So we're going to delve into some stuff on what you could expect. Just note that this is from internal stuff that we've looked at. So this is not official. What you're about to see some model visualizations, and I'm about to talk to you about some of the things that I think you guys could expect due to the characteristics of the system and the data that I've been seeing. As time goes on and official information does come in, more videos will be posted, and we'll keep you up to date with what the officials are saying. And if it is a bit different than what I'm saying now, we'll be sure to update you there as well. So just take this with a grain of salt, but this is some of the stuff that I personally expect you could get. So let's start with an ensemble track of where exactly the system could go. Now, every single ensemble shows an Australia landfall in the territory of Queensland, so I'm very confident that that's going to happen. You'll notice as well that our deterministic GFS and our GEFS mean, basically the average of a large ensemble of models and the model that we consider the main model, if you will, both have a very similar track. Now, the places generally that seem to be in the most danger here, let's go back to the cone real quick, are Townsville to Hope Vale. Those areas, Cairns is included in that as well, but that's well within this cone here for tropical storm force winds, and that's also well encapsulated again within the ensemble tracks that you see here. Now, this is all based on one model run in a bunch of different varieties. I don't have the usual multi-model ensemble that a lot of you guys are used to seeing, and that's because that's not running properly right now. It's spitting out some data that's pretty wonky, so that's the reason for that. Let's take a look at one visualization of what could happen. This goes out to 7 days, but I don't want you to pay attention to the specifics of the location that gets hit. I want you to pay attention to how this system evolves with time. So we'll start. The system is well defined. It looks a lot like it currently does on this model before this system rapidly weakens. Wind shear increases. The favorability for this system goes down a lot before things ramp back up shortly after that forecast period for those official forecasts end, and you notice that the system becomes robust, develops an eye very clearly once again before striking the Australian coast. Now, this is just one model. However, most of the other models I've looked at all show the same thing. The models show that the system is going to weaken, and universally, every single model that I've seen either shows that it's going to strengthen gradually or rapidly. So this is going to likely be strengthening upon landfall in Australia. I'm pretty confident in that. The question is, where exactly will it hit, and just how strong will it be? That also leads to uncertainty with impacts in terms of storm surge, rainfall, all of those things. So we'll have more information on that with time, but unfortunately right now, all I can tell you is that those in Queensland, especially there from around Hopevale to Townville, you all need to be preparing for what could be a somewhat serious system. That doesn't mean evacuate, that doesn't mean panic. What that means is just stock up on some extra food if you can, things of that nature to make sure that you're prepared for this, because even if this doesn't materialize into much, canned food, things like that, they're always good to have in the home, especially in the event of a cyclone in the future following a similar trajectory to what this system is currently expected to do. So before we end the video, let's just talk about some more hurricane preparedness tips. The first thing is, and don't do this now, we don't know exactly where things are going to be, and you're going to have time even after we get a good idea, but just keep these in the back of your head. We'll release future videos that go over in more detail who's going to get hit and who needs to do these things, but it's always good to have a checklist for this in case a cyclone comes in your direction. So firstly, protect your home, cover windows, secure doors, and loose items. Make sure that you know how to do that. Start formulating that plan. Determine sheltering options. Consider your pets. Make sure that you know what you're going to do, whether that's determining an evacuation route, making sure that you know what you'll do in terms of getting your pets in order, making sure you know how you and your kids are going to be doing things of that nature. Make sure that you have a to-go bag, meds, supplies, your phone's charged up, things like that. Again, that's not stuff you need to do now, but make sure that you know how to do that in a somewhat quick fashion within a day or two once we have a better idea of how exactly this is going to end up. Make sure that you're notifying your neighbors as well. You can share this video with them or anyone else that you know is in the threat area. You can also tune them in to the Bureau of Meteorology. They're the official source of meteorological information in Australia. Just make sure that you're helping those around you. You're giving them a tip, just letting them know, hey, you know, there's a cyclone that looks like it could be heading in our direction. We don't exactly know what's going on with it yet, but it could become a more major threat as time goes on. So that's something that you can always communicate with people. And finally, follow evacuation orders if given. The officials know what they're doing. They've done this many a times for many other areas in Australia. So if you're given an evacuation order, that means that the system is the real deal and it is a catastrophic threat to life and property, and you need to get out of there. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video did help you out some. If you liked it, you can hit the like button. It lets us know that we're doing something right and that we should continue making content like this. If you have constructive feedback for us, you can leave that in the comments below. We're always looking to improve our videos. You can also go to our Discord server if you want to get to know me or anyone else in our community a bit better. We have an active community over there that's pretty healthy, does a pretty good job of keeping weather discussion lively. So if you're into that, again, link in the description. And finally, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to be notified for when new videos come out. You always want to hit that notification bell after you subscribe if that's something you're interested in. Well, thanks again for watching. We'll have another video out on this system at some point tomorrow. Stay safe out there.